Movement! At last, a sign of life on the Amazon plus Games Workshop Warhammer movie and possibly TV show project. Damn, that took a while, but we finally arrived at something. Although, it's a pinch unclear what exactly we've arrived at. So, the original announcement made on Games Workshop's official page was that they had signed an agreement in principle, which means essentially next to nothing, as an agreement in principle could simply just be the two parties looking up at each other after long and fruitless negotiations and going, can we at least agree that we're trying? But they do seem to have gotten a step beyond that, as they have signed some sort of contractual agreement now, even though, as they mention, all of the creative details have not yet been worked out. Which is interesting. So, see, normally, in the cases like these, Games Workshop give out a piece of their franchise. They negotiate out, okay, you want the Space Marines and Chaos. Alright, let's make a deal for that. Or you want the Orcs and Eldar. Let's make a deal for that. The fact that they've arrived at a contractual agreement with Amazon, with the creative details still unknown, is an interesting tidbit. Now, it could potentially just be wording, mind you, but the rumors that's going around is quite interesting. So I've heard from a couple of sources now, including my own Amazon inside sources, that the original agreement that they arrived on between Amazon and GW was a very bad one for GW, and stressing, this is rumors here, so pinch of salt and all that, but apparently what was suggested was that they arrived at an agreement where Amazon would take on all of the costs associated with the production of any undertaking. So they would pay for it, they would pay for the marketing, they would create it, they would hire the people, etc, etc, but at the end of it, they would also own whatever was being produced. They would have the license to what was being produced. That is a big thing, because then you could end up in a bit of a Lord of the Rings and Lord of the Rings movie scenario, where of course the Tolkien estate still owns Aragorn, the character of Aragorn, but the movies own the license to Aragorn, the movie character, played by, this actor, whose name now escapes me, even though he's one of my people, so I should remember. In this case, if this is true, then Amazon could potentially be able to do to Games Workshop what they tried to do to Lord of the Rings with the Rings of Power, by making Henry Cavill as Cyphers Cain, my preferred wish, by the way, and go, well, we now own Cyphers Cain as Henry Cavill. We can sell merchandise of Cyphers Cain as Henry Cavill, or vice versa, more correctly. We can sell shirts about him, we can sell miniatures about him, we can make spin-off shows about him, because he's now our license. We own that bit now. Which, if this is true, and the rumor is going around that GW also fired the guy who initially did negotiations for them, which, if true, again, would really hammer home that point, because this would be a bad deal for Games Workshop, a titanically bad deal. So, Henry Cavill, by the way, is confirmed to be an executive producer, which we'll get to in a moment, because that could be good and also kind of terrible. But let's explore this idea, shall we? We know for an absolute fact that with the Rings of Power, Amazon attempted to basically take Lord of the Rings and just cut the legs right underneath it, and slice off a portion of the Lord of the Rings to be Amazon's The Lord of the Rings. That's why they went back in the timeline to a not explored area, so they could go like, carve that out as their own thing. That's also why they introduced Amazonian nonsense to it. Modern day woke intersectionality nonsense. It was steeped in DEI from the very top to the very bottom. Galadriel is a girl boss. Hobbits come in all colours now and shapes. Gandalf, who was not in Middle-earth at this time, is in the show. The Hobbits, who did nothing of relevance during this time, is in the show. The Númenóreans come in all shapes and colours, etc. Their look is entirely different from the original descriptions, and so on and so on and so on. What Amazon was trying to do was create Amazon the Lord of the Rings, that they could then expand upon and milk indefinitely by essentially subverting and taking over an enormously popular entertainment franchise. In the case of Games Workshop, oh boy, they have a much easier target here if this is something they're going to try again. And since they've already tried it, for some weird reason, I have a sneaking suspicion they might go at it again, especially considering that Rings of Power was supposed to be the Amazon Studios' big hit. It was supposed to be what proved their bona fides and got them earning money. Instead, it lost them money and buried them deep in the red and have investors calling to them in cataclysmic anger. Cataclysmic. This could be an excellent opportunity to get into a franchise that is profitable and go, all right, this is ours now. We're just gonna take this and make it in such a way that GW can't actually launch a principled opposition by going, okay, you know these Space Marines, these guys over here, these guys in red, we want them to be diverse now. So we're going to have a black one, we're going to have a yellow one, we're going to have a Mongolian one, and we're going to have a Zulu one, okay? And maybe we'll have a white guy off to the side with his helmet on. And GW goes, hold on, those are blood angels. They're they're deathly pale. They're space vampires. And Amazon just looks them in the eyes and go, racist. You could see it, couldn't you? Oh God, could you see it? And suddenly, they could even simply just create their own entire chapter. Oh God. Oh God, I just thought oh my. Okay. One of the big things you need to do if you're trying to do something like this is you need to carve up the fandom. That's what they try to do with Rings of Power, by moving into the Tolkien society, specifically, not the Tolkien estate, the society, by giving them a little bit of an advanced screening, for example. They tried to bribe them on board, and they succeeded. And by doing this, they got a portion of the wokest elements of Lord of the Rings on their side to push positive PR for the show, which ceased immediately once it was released, because it was just that garbage of a product. But in 40k, they've got an equally easy and much easier, in fact, standout. Female Space Marines. Oh God. Amazon could potentially do the biggest virtue signal in history by having a Space Marine take off his helmet and show a female visage. And Games Workshop could not argue. Well, what are they going to say? No, they're all men. Sexist? How dare you? This is 2023. This is Amazon. What a progressive company, you pieces of shit. Look, you've already made statements in favor of intersectional wokeism. You've invoked their gods, so to say, and now you're objecting? You bigots. They could, biggest virtue signal, they could get a sizable portion of the workers' community in lockstep behind them. In fact, they would be politically forced to agree with it. Everyone who is on the left in the entirety of the Warhammer community would have to, by indoctrination, laud this as the best thing ever, or out themselves as heretics in their own midst. It would carve out a huge portion of 40k for Amazon's own purview. Oh boy. Okay, we've happened across the nightmare scenario here. That would allow Amazon to coup a tremendous part of 40k, to slice it off 40k, and potentially even force Games Workshop to either disavow it, or at best take an ambivalent position towards it, which would give Amazon even more... Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus, indeed. Okay, I'm just going to leave that nuclear bomb over in the corner, just in case anyone from Amazon is watching my videos, because I don't want to give them too many ideas for how they could, pull off the steal of the century. Let's instead talk about Henry Cavill, shall we? Because Cavill is our one bright, shining, guiding star in this. Henry Cavill is the only reason why anyone's really excited for this, okay? Amazon has produced very little of quality. Warhammer Plus has produced very little of quality, and it's actively chased off its best creators, like Sima Pedersen, for example, the Astartes guy. They've chased off the Exodus guys. They are abusing the shit out of their creative personnel, and they're producing very little of actual worth. And not to mention, Warhammer has never made a good movie. Oh God, Ultramarines. Let's not get in on that, shall we? And the worst part is, and I do hate the fact, they mention a band of elite screenwriters. Don't bring in Black Library authors, you pieces of shit. Okay. This is a pet peeve of mine, okay? Black Library authors are fantastic authors, okay? I get nothing against them, but they cannot write screenplay if their life depends depended on it. This has been proven multiple times. Just put them in the shed and get them to work on something else, all right? The only reason anyone is truly excited is because of Henry Cavill. Cavill is a nerd's nerd. He is our guy. And if anyone can manage to walk into a production like this and go, no, this is what 40K is. This, and this. This is 40K. This is the law. This is the rationale behind it. This is what we're going to make. It is going to be Henry Cavill. He did it with The Witcher. He did it with Geralt's character. He did it when he saved the Roach dying scene. Apparently, initially, the scene where Geralt's horse, Roach, was going to die was supposed to be played off like a comedic moment. It's like, okay. The character's trusty warhorse dies. Funny haha. What? I don't see a way that could work, frankly. And Cavill moved in and said, no, this is a somber moment. This is a moment to show off Geralt's humanity. And that is what came onto the actual screen, and it was almost certainly a far, far better thing. Cavill could save the day here, but he also couldn't. If he is an executive producer, that could be a role with tremendous value and tremendous power. Or he could be one of like 7, and he's like, okay, 40K is this, and there's a laundry list. And the other people in the room, they're sitting there, they're playing on their phones, and when he's done talking, the guy at the end of the table goes up and goes like, clap. That's great, Cavill. We love your enthusiasm, bro. That's fantastic. Now, if you could go over there and look pretty for the cameras, we're gonna do some writing here, and we're gonna really value your feedback, brother. Oh yeah. Because Cavill is not well liked by the mainstream entertainment establishment. We could see that after multiple attempts after The Witcher to try and cancel him, which only made him turn out to look like an even bigger Chad. What was it? They said that he had troubles dealing with the female parts of the cast because he would just go up on rants about what The Witcher was about and what Geralt was all about, and he'd give them lore dumps, and they'd be like, couldn't you just be silent and pretty instead? And he's like, no, so let me tell you about 40K. Oh god. I hope this will be good. I do. Obviously I do. This, man, and again, the fact Cavill deserves so much more than he's getting. He really does. He really goddamn does. He has become the enemy of the mainstream entertainment industry. He's being kept out of Superman despite the fact that the character would be perfect for him. He's been kept on the fringes of entertainment for a very long time and outright, well, ghosted and haunted in a certain part, and now he finally has the opportunity to do something he's really passionate for, and god, I hope it works out, because it'll give us a much better product too. But this might be the worst time to do this. We are seeing the slow death of wokeist intersectionality, and like any cornered rat, it is going to bite ferociously before it kicks out its last violent, effective little breath. And it's also Amazon, a company that has been fully and completely institutionally captured by this ideology to the point of demanding racist casting practices for the sake of diversity, equity, and inclusion. As much as this could be a match made in heaven, it could also be one forged in the deepest, darkest depths of Beelzebub's cauldron. So, temper your expectations, lads. Temper them thoroughly. Though still maintain them, at least for the moment. I'd love to hear what you all think down in the comment section down below, by the way, of course. And until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.